Hello and good morning and welcome to Back to the Feature, a show which brings past, present and future films right here in the studio. Today, this morning on my glorious two chairs are Sight and Sound's Nikki Price and film crit Megan Roper. And first things first, regarding present films, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. We have interviews from the fans of what they very first thought of the film. Over to you guys.
What were your first impressions of Age of Ultron?
So, the Avengers Age of Ultron, that was pretty amazing. I mean, it's got similar things to the first Avengers, you know, superheroes assemble, having to fight a supposedly invincible alien race. But, you know, it's still Marvel.
I didn't know what to expect with this film. After the first one, it kind of put me off a little bit because there was a few things that happened that didn't happen in the comic books, which kind of annoyed me a little bit. Going into this film, it's kind of optimistic and it did live up to my expectations.
So Avengers, I saw obviously the first one, and I couldn't really see much room for improvement except for everything that was in the film, because the film was quite bad in my opinion.
What did you like about the film?
Yeah, it's Marvel, so it's pretty awesome regardless. I mean, I know I said it's all deja vu, but, you know, it's Iron Man blowing stuff up. What's not to like about it?
What didn't you like?
They keep increasing the level of threat to the city, and at the moment I don't see how they can go much farther than that, because when Thanos comes along, he can destroy a universe in about half a second, and I don't know how they're going to be able to stop that.
Age of Ultron didn't really interest me that much. The There Are No Strings on Me guy just reminded me of Pinocchio, and I just didn't really fancy watching Pinocchio 2. And instead I wanted to watch Fast and Furious 7.
So that was the Avengers Age of Ultron. Now we're going to hand over to our two guests here. So guys, what do you think of the film as a whole?
As much as I love Avengers, well, as much as I love Marvel, and they give too much away in their trailers.
Yeah, like with any trailer, yeah, like, why?
As well as like they bring out too many trailers at the same time, so you can end up watching the whole film, and well, in just the trailers.
Definitely
and
agree. Yeah.
I'll go and see the film anyway, but I feel like I've seen it all before. For the fact that it's all in their trailers, they give all the best parts in their trailers, which is the horrible. As much as I love, like I said, as much as I love them, it's really horrible, and not just that, it's pretty much the same film, apart from Loki's not the bad guy, and that kind of hits a sore spot for me.
I suppose, but yeah, and obviously, you know, regarding audience, like they're going to like that because obviously, you know, it's the same thing. If it's too different, they're going to be disappointed, and then if it's like the same, they're going to get bored. Is that
with Loki, you get more of a backstory at like in Thor, and then you get a little bit of why he did it in the sequel to Thor. While with this one, Age of Ultron, he's been sort of nitpicking throughout the whole, like,
I mean,
stuff like that, because he was a part of Iron Man, and it was like created by Iron Man to help people, and suddenly he's just off on a rampage ever since Iron Man 3, and how he, as it's established in the film, how he did it to help people, and then once he did, like, just threw everything away and just taken away the suit and everything.
So yeah. So regarding, obviously we're on the subject of characters, what about Black Widow? Obviously there's a lot of speculation of her being too revealing.
Well, as much as she is kind of represented as a sex symbol in a way, for the fact that it's to kind of bring the male audience more into it, and a wider range of audience, as well as her being a strong, independent woman.
It's quite a contradiction as well. Even though she looks like a revealing character with her costume and stuff, inside, like physically she does, but mentally she isn't. So she has a lot of secrets, especially with her background, like in Russia and stuff like that. She's done a lot of things to keep. So like. With that,
so even though she's sexualised, she's a masculine character.
Yeah, she's an all well-rounded character.
Yeah, but
and
yeah.
Not just that, they're expecting a Black Widow film as well, so that tells you something.
No, thank you. Yeah, swiftly moving on. Sorry to cut you short. Yes, Fast and Furious 7. Now we're going to hand over to our interviewers once more for their first input on the film. So yeah, over to you guys.
Your opinions on Furious 7?
Fast and Furious 7, thank God it's over. It's never really appealed to me. I've seen a couple of them, and it is just, you know, meh. Vin Diesel and that, what's his name, Paul Walker, just changing gears rapidly.
What was it about?
So pretty much Fast and Furious 7 is an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride with cars.
How did it compare to the previous ones?
I haven't really seen any of the Fast and Furious except for the first one, and then I thought, why not watch the 7th one, where the first one was just full of cars racing all the time and a little bit of drugs involved. The 7th one, it seems like they should go more or less into action than anything else.
How did the effects look in the film?
Obviously, the tragedy was that Paul Walker died while filming it, and it was really impressive how they managed to actually get him in the film by using his brother and like a mixture of CGI as well. It was really seamless, and you didn't actually know it wasn't him at points.
Your favourite moment?
The plane bit, I was surprised to find out that was all actually practical. All the cars actually did go out the plane, and I thought that was quite an interesting way when it would have been much cheaper to do it CG. But anyway, points there, they did it for real.
So yes, that was with Fast and Furious 7. So now we're going to hand back over to our glorious panel. So what do you guys... what's
Fast
on?
and Furious 7, I believe like all the Fast and Furious franchise, they've got similar storylines because that's what the audience expect. Exactly like with Avengers and stuff like that. Like with loads of franchise films, like with Saw as well, as you can see up there. But with Fast and Furious, you expect cars, explosions, guns, women, like all that type of thing. But as a farewell type of thing, like at the end of seven, like Paul Walker and his stunt double, and it's like the massive.
That is the talking point
that's
of the
thing
7th.
that makes it different. That's the thing that's like a little goodbye, like a little salute to be like at the end of the franchise, really.
And as well, so what do you guys think of the CGI effect over Paul Walker's brother's face?
It was really good.
Did that?
Yeah,
so
it was amazing how they managed to do it. But to be honest, I'm not exactly a big fan of the Fast and Furious films. For instance, they don't need as many as they do. They could have just had like 2 or 3, but they don't really need 7. But the one thing that's different, like you said, is that emotional ending and how they managed to do it to end with the beginning, pretty much, where they're both going along in the cars and split off. And
So-
with that, knowing that Paul Walker is dead, it does hit a small spot in here.
And yeah, ending how it started as well, symbolism.
Yeah, as I said to you before, it's like a parallel. Everything's in a circle. Everything must end. So it's a little bit to that as well. And it's really, really clever how they did that with the CGI.
Yeah,
I believe,
fantastic
especially with
stuff, brilliant.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And yeah, speaking of emotional stuff here, we have
What were
the
your
theory
first
of
impressions
everything
of
now
Age of
coming up with
So, the
our
Avengers-
guys once more. Over to you.
How good was Eddie Redmayne?
Eddie Redmayne was just superb at it. The way he managed to transform himself into Stephen Hawking and then be able to transform throughout a young version of him to the condition he has now was simply incredible. And he did a lot of work to prepare for it. Okay.
The Theory of Everything, quite moving. I didn't expect that I'd like it, but I think, well, you know, Eddie Redmayne got an Oscar for it, so he obviously did something right in it. But yeah, that was a brilliant film. That deserved every award that got.
It was definitely deserving of all of the Oscars that it won, and I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to watch it.
So yes, now again once more over to our 2 guests here. So the theory of everything. What stood out for you the most, particularly, Megan?
As
Go.
you said, it's quite an emotional film. Like one of my flatmates, she actually cried at the end of it of how bad, how bad,
devastating his life was. Yeah.
It's not
growing up.
devastating as how it affects him and how you can slowly see him deteriorating to become the man he is, especially as he only had like a year and a half to live in the 60s, and how he's lived for so long and no one knows how or why. And it's how his brain's still functioning, but his body isn't, and how it's like.
The one thing I thought, well, everyone kind of took it in a wrong way in a film, and not people a lot of understand it, is how his wife was to him, where she fell in love with another man but married him anyway. And it can be a very difficult thing because, for one, to find something like that happen to you, you find that you get an illness, you don't want to be alone for that, and you do need the person you love,
The
no
thing
matter
is,
what.
She supported him anyway. It was her
Yeah.
idea to get married, but she thought he only had a year to live. So obviously you go in with that mindset. But of course he had like 40 years to live. Like he's lived 40 plus years.
So
with
sorry.
the-
So do you guys know what condition he had?
Yes, the Americans call it ALS. It's
Ah,
locked-in syndrome.
yeah.
So he just he can't do anything on his own anymore.
That's it must be terrible to have.
yeah.
You know.
Well, he still has all his family, which is a great thing as well. And as much as he is still deteriorating, he's got all of his loved ones, and he's got a film to tell everyone what his life was
But
about.
it's also scientific achievements as well, and how is this like disability hasn't affected him like throughout all of this.
So would you say it's an accurate portrayal of his life in the
Well,
film?
Yeah, because they actually done it from his biographies.
Oh, so
Yeah.
quote
So it's
direct
quite- it's
quotations.
and he
from-
actually went onto the sets and spoke to
yeah. Oh, fantastic.
the actors about it, so how
Brilliant.
he felt.
Yeah, and not just that, to have well, not just the achievements as well, but for someone who is so smart and so influential in the world, and for scientists and for our world in general, finding what he has out has just been a great thing.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome stuff. Now it's time to loop back into the past, where we get our reboots, starting with Spider-Man. Obviously, I mean, where do we begin? There's
Which reboot? That's
yeah.
what I want to know.
So shall we, yeah, we'll start off with the modern Spider-Mans.
Well,
yeah.
with the Amazing Spider-Man, I like how they portray all the character a little bit more than how they do in the first reboot, obviously, because he is a geek. He is supposed to be a geek, and they portray that so well in the actual reboot.
While with the previous reboot, they didn't portray him as like a science geek. They just portrayed him as a loser with no friends, just bullied all the time.
Yeah.
Which is quite a different
One
character.
thing I really want to point out regarding the protagonist Peter Parker, that the character was changed in the modern Spider-Mans. And I mean, wouldn't that destroy the character as a whole? Like the whole illusion of Peter Parker, wouldn't that destroy it, like him as a person?
Well, when it comes to destroying the character, I think if you don't go in with it with an open mind, because it's going to change in each reboot, especially with the different companies and who works on it as well. Some better than others, but if you grew up with the first Spider-Man films, you're not going to like the newer ones, and it's going to be the same with us. And for people who grew up with the Amazing Spider-Man, when it comes to the next reboot, which will be coming out not too long.
Originality, yeah.
Yeah.
I also believe that with each character is completely different, and with each, even though it's going to be similar or the same storyline, as you said, we need to keep an open mind. But they also need to try, especially as it's gone to Marvel now, and it was Sony. As they said, the
Definitely.
sequel to Amazing Spider-Man was a complete flop, even though it got millions and millions of dollars. But they need to check. I think it's going to be hard for people because with the original reboot, they had a long period of time where they didn't film anything of Spider-Man. Well, with this one, with the Amazing Spider-Man, it's like the sequel. No, we're stopping it now. We're going to do another one, and it's going to be like 3 or 4 years' time. It's going to be quite a tight thing.
With sorry. Yes. Now with regarding is it our next one now is Ghostbusters. Now I have not seen. I like to hold my hands up. I have not seen Ghostbusters at all. So just
Oh,
want
you
to.
don't,
Yeah,
you,
no,
you
okay,
don't
sorry.
really want to.
Sorry.
Well,
I know. All I know is the reboot of Ghostbusters is all women now. I know. Yeah, there was the group of it was all male, wasn't it before?
yeah.
Yeah,
male
it was
before?
all males.
And now it's all women. Is that going to be a new
I don't like it.
controversy? No.
As much as it's great that they're trying to put females into the same role as a male, it's great that they're doing that, but you cannot do that to a classic. You cannot. Ghostbusters itself does not need a reboot. It's just
I
a
personally
classic.
agree with that as well.
It's just beautiful the way it is.
Because
and you can't change something that's already beautiful and perfect.
and
the
as
way
well,
it
like
is.
Unless they do another script, like another setting for it. or maybe it's like like a family, and then maybe they're reowning it because
Personally.
people have got older and they can't do it anymore. Maybe it's something to do with that. You just don't know. It just depends. Even though it's female and male, like people are more against the female version because they shouldn't be a main character in something so classic and iconic, which is fair enough. People are always going to relate it to the originals, but it depends on the storyline, how they're written. Because if they're exactly the same characters, then it's going to be a bit iffy, and people are going to be like, no. But if they're completely different characters and they're rewritten to work within the same storyline, that might actually work. You just don't know how it's going to be.
With regarding the reboot, obviously, you know, with originality of the first Ghostbusters, with all the, you know, cheap effects and stuff, it looked amazing for its time and that. But with like the reboot, do you think they're going to like glamorize it with their amazing Michael Bay effects?
Well, the thing
you know,
is, they haven't given that much away apart from that it's going to be cast of women so far. So they could try and stick to the classic and try and not go over the top with it, or they might just go full out. You never know.
It depends on the director, really.
Yeah.
It depends on who's directing it. I don't know who's directing.
I don't really. Yeah, we haven't really. And
No
I
one's got
don't
a
think
clue.
they've confirmed it yet. So all they've confirmed is that they've got a whole woman cast. So.
Yeah, that's so one way to find out, we see it when it comes out. But anyway, yes. Now speaking of originality, regarding now Jurassic Park, you know, or should I say Jurassic World, as it is going to be called. So what is like? Do you think that there's going to be a sense of originality in that, or do you reckon they're going to go over the top with effects, maybe?
I don't know, because I see some
What's
of
going to
the
happen?
trailers, and the trailers look amazing,
Oh.
especially with CGI
Yeah.
and the effects. They just
Beautiful.
look. They actually look realistic. They
Exactly.
Look so good.
Like, see now with modern effects, that will come in its favour now, wouldn't it?
Well,
Like
when
with the
it was-
likes of Ghostbusters.
When it was first created, the effects itself during that time was
Were
just
amazing.
amazing. Like there was a scene, I think, during the first or second Jurassic Park where they have the children in it, and they're hiding behind a log, and you've got a T-Rex ripping up dinosaurs in front of them, and though, like when they were sitting behind that log, they were all CGI. Nothing there was actually them. It was all
Wow.
CGI, and
Incredible
that's
stuff.
for that time, it's incredible. So knowing that they could do that then, what they're going to be doing now is just going to be
And
mind-blowing.
especially as it's based in the future, so it's going to be a completely different cast and stuff like that. They'll have a different storyline. Sure, it'll be the same dinosaurs, and I know it was originally called Jurassic Park because it was like more like a wildlife park, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But with this one, it's actually like a proper, like Disney World, like a proper. What I've heard is like a proper Disneyland type of thing, but with dinosaurs.
That's
So
going to be
that'd be
interesting.
quite
That's going to be
interesting.
interesting
That'd be
because
quite-
obviously, you know, it's Disney. You mean
It's going to be like a Sea World as well,
Yeah.
as we've seen from
the
them.
Mosasaurus, I believe it is. Is that the name of the dinosaur?
I think it
In
is.
the aquarium?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I think it
Mosasaurus.
is, yeah.
Yeah, but no, thank you very much. Now, obviously, veering kind of off topic slightly regarding now back to the whole Marvel/DC kind of thing. Now, with Batman versus Superman, the speculation of that is very interesting.
Well, what can I say about
Yeah.
that?
Because obviously, yeah, you are the
Well,
prime.
obviously, if we go back from the beginning, it's changed a lot from all of its reboots we've had. From a guy wearing, like, or in
Yeah,
comics
please
here,
show us away, yeah.
Guy wearing, like, grey suits and little ears, kind of wearing his pants over his tights, like all superheroes did, to, well, a more darker person. But I must say I did not like the reboot when it comes to the films, apart from Tim Burton's one with the penguin in it, because, no one needs a George Clooney with his nips showing, I'm sorry, but it just really didn't suit. And then obviously you now have The Dark Knight, which
Like
was-
proper armour.
yeah, that was,
Yeah,
it was a
good
beautiful set
job.
of films. Christian Bale portrayed the character very well, but with this one, well, a lot of people do not like the trailer at the moment.
Right.
And I can
Revealing? Is it revealing or
no,
not?
it's not
the
revealing
opposite?
at all.
No, I
It's the
believe
complete
it's-
opposite.
But then doesn't that
I
make a good trailer? Doesn't that make a good trailer not revealing a lot?
Because I believe with the trailer it was too slow. There was one shot I counted. It was at least like 15 seconds. It was just a panning shot, and it's just so slow. You just wanted something to cut it in between. Really, it was just too slow for me. Even if it had a little bit more action, maybe like a little punch up. Maybe if it's just like a little punch maybe. So it shows nothing else, nothing really too revealing.
So
Just
ending
to
on
make
like
it
a
look a little bit
cliffhanger,
more-
maybe?
Yeah.
It was like a
Suspense?
cliffhanger
Yeah.
in
no,
a way.
no, it just means like a more like a action type of superhero film. Because even though you could tell it was like Batman and Superman, it was just too slow for me. It's just too slow
Well,
for a superhero.
On the
film.
other side, I prefer it being like that because it doesn't give anything away at all, and that's how I like a film. I love a film that doesn't give anything away
Oh,
because
definitely.
that means you'll go into the film with a completely open
But
mind.
but I never said it would show anything. I'll just show like, a little
Yeah.
bit more action. That's what
No,
I meant,
no,
like,
yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit more
But,
fast-paced.
That's the thing. I can go into that film with a completely open mind, and with as well as that the complete change of character as well. Ben Affleck being Batman, and then obviously from the Man of Steel, the same actor. It was just I'm going in it because to be honest, I do not like Ben Affleck as an actor. But when I saw this trailer, I thought he suits Batman so well, and how they've recreated the suit as well. Like the suit itself is just beautiful, and the voice just gave me goosebumps when I heard it. And that's the important thing, is that they keep with the characters like they have in the comics. And that's the one thing I'm looking forward to, is to see of how close to the comic
It will
they
be
really
interesting.
is.
Yeah, again, it's like adaptation again, isn't it? You need to be
Yeah.
careful. You need to be careful that you need to please your audience. I mean, it's very hard. I mean, because you can't please everyone. I mean, some people will
Everyone's
like,
critic, though,
yeah,
everyone's-
some people will like new stuff. Some people will be like, no, I prefer the original setup of it.
Exactly.
Definitely stuff. Right. Now on to future. Now we're going to whiz forward in time now. Now with regarding the new Star Wars. Obviously, you know, like, do you think that's going to have, again, based on originality, do you think it's going to have that?
Oh, yeah, Star Wars, it's just gold. I just love the trailer. It was
Yeah,
just amazing.
the trailer was beautiful with all the special
See, I
effects.
don't agree. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think they're going to, like...
By looks of it, you're going to
Yeah.
like
No,
death
you're gonna
threats.
get
Yeah, death threats from the... yeah, definitely.
Well, with the-
But
No, I
it
just...
just
'cause-
establishes the characters, really. It doesn't show anything of it.
Well, no, it's just- I
fast-paced
can just-
and it establishes the characters.
And
just
I
didn't-
love the fact that they still have some of the original characters in it.
Yeah, no,
That's
fair
the
enough. Like,
important
it's got
thing.
original characters in it, but I mean, it's just they're just gonna go over the top with Michael Bay effects, I reckon. Just, you know, all this stuff.
Well, they can't
It's just
accept.
gonna
Well,
ruin it.
they could,
but
but they
these-
can't at the same time.
It's gonna
a
ruin
Disney
it.
film.
It's because you need to keep to that kind of old, stylistic. You know, yeah.
As much as I agree with you, it could go over the top. You've got to remember,
needs to
it's
be
a
careful.
Disney film, and they can't go too over the top.
Best
'cause
thing.
It's Disney.
Yeah, the
And
best
plus
thing.
It's the ultimate fandom as well, so they can't do new effects. Like sure, the lightsaber swords, you know, that was incredible.
That, yeah,
The
that's what I was
reaction
about to
to
say.
that was
That's what I was
amazing.
about to say. Literally, I think that, in my opinion, is the best part of the trailer. The double lightsaber when you see it like come out, it's just like it just sounds amazing. Like I genuinely, that stood out for me in the trailer the most, I'd say. But obviously, you know, that is not really the whole point. It needs to stick to the original.
Trilogy.
Yeah, definitely it has to. It can't go over the top of that.
No, I can completely understand where you're coming from.
But then they would have put over the top shots in the trailers, though, wouldn't they?
You know,
That's what you would think.
overall,
They
the
thought-
trailer. I mean, the trailer. Nothing wrong with it personally. I'm just concerned of what the actual feature's going to be
Yeah.
like. you
Like
know, it's-
going back to what we were saying,
Mm.
people prefer the old than the new.
again,
so
yeah, just can't please everyone,
It
can
just
you?
depends on what you grew up with, really,
Exactly.
and how you portray the films.
Mm.
It just, especially if you've watched it since you were young and you grew up with watching the trilogy, and then suddenly these new films come out, and then you're like, oh, but they're not my childhood. It's just depending on the actors and
Mhm,
the
yeah,
writing.
yeah, definitely. But no, there's only one way to find out. Again, it comes out in December.
It just says December.
December.
Yeah.
There's not an official date yet. No.
No.
No, not yet. Okay, well, roll on December. But yeah, anyway. Now, later on, still to come on the show, we have our special guest lined up for our future trailer direction in time. Over to you guys.
Are you surprised they don't listen to you? You don't respect them. down upon them and expect everything in return.
The main thing I wanted to bring to attention was racism to other cultures during these times.
I see you've been ejected from class yet again, dear boy.
No, cut.
What was it for this time?
Profound impact can be made with just one film, but to make the film has to be a team effort, you know, a feeling of unity when filming. The amount of money that has been put into this production, and you keep messing up a few lines.
I would have thought a martial arts expert like yourself would do better without getting caught.
See that? You could take a few notes from her. That is acting.
Well, Vice Boy?
Putting the actors through their paces helps them better understand the nature of what we're doing. You've been
Start
given a
speaking.
chance. You've been given several chances. I know it can be stressful at times, but what we're going for at the end of the day is a good film. Okay, reset, rolling, and action.
He's not always the easiest person to be around when stressed.
I'm sorry, you can't take criticism as well as this man right here. Essentially, everyone knows that the 50s were in the best times for people with dark skins.
So, for detention,
But something far less in public knowledge was the racism towards other ethnicities.
a chink should know better 500 times.
I'm just trying to do my job. What the fuck, man? Just
You got some shoddy work going on. It's shaking. We've had hours to get this together. Come on, what are you playing at? I mean, little chinky boy's doing fine here.
Undeniably, though, he's a great director.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
He is right though, we have given you like 4 takes.
I believe...
How many chances do you expect to get given? You're on a fine line. You're on a fine line. Hopefully this film becomes worth its weight in the effort that we put into it. Again!
By not saying anything.
Okay, reset, rolling, action.
Yes, and now I am seated here with the promising prospect director, Mr. Scott Passfield.
Hello.
Yes. So, can you just tell us, Scott, what did you think of the process of making the film? Like, what was your barriers, your stresses, your?
It was very tiresome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get good staff nowadays.
Definitely. Can you, so yeah, so just before we carry on, do you mind just telling us what your film was about?
It was about like, difficulties with being different races during like the 50s. So it was set in the 50s, like struggles other ethnicities would have in like not emigrate, like moving from other like from their countries and homelands, coming here, getting educated in our school system, whilst our people in the like, the teachers and whatnot are somewhat ignorant to their customs, their culture, the traditions that they have carried with them, like.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, just trying to put across.
Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, no, I understand that. But yes, so regarding production, obviously, what was that like for you, like the production side of things? Did things go your way for filming the film?
At times they did, but more so they did not.
Yeah, because there was a lot of stresses.
Yeah, a
lot
lot
of stresses.
A lot of people messing up their lines, which is fair enough. A couple of
That with
times.
any actor though, aren't you?
A couple of times when they keep doing it over and over again. It's just,
Yeah, well, with the it's going to be very stressful and frustrating for everyone.
Especially
I'm not the most patient of people.
Quite a tough subject to portray and stuff like that, especially through racism
And trying to get it exactly right without seeing racist or
that's what I was after. I wanted to be conveyed correctly without being
you need to have the
anybody out there.
Yeah, the correct representation of racism, the gravity of racism in that time period. I mean, it was very let's just say blunt and out there.
Yeah,
definitely.
I can be stern, but I take a lot of pride in what I do, and I want my actors to do their best as well.
No, but I mean, by the looks of the film, it looked fantastic. Like, you know.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it looked good. But no, anyway. So can you tell us what was it like with like obviously you mentioned the actor or actors messing up their lines. How long did it take for them to like master their lines? Like, I mean, did you?
I'm not sure if they ever did.
No.
No.
So I'll say you kind of just threw the film out there then, like unfinished, like unpolished.
Some would say that, but I think I've done really well with what I had given to me at the time of what I was working with. I think the production at the end.
Yeah, I mean, well, the interviews like with the actors, like I mean, they seem pretty like impressed with your work, and I mean, you you can't go wrong with it.
Well, it's not just the actors that seem to be over like stressed out as well. Like as well as like getting all the camera angles right, and like as we saw in the trailer,
Crew,
that
and what was
you
staff.
did get in arguments with staff, so that must be quite tricky for you to have to replace them, and so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's been quite a stressful shoot, really, like for everyone. I guess because it's quite a stressful film to make. So
Sometimes struggle putting across my thoughts to the people and how I want it to look, kind of thing. Yeah.
Trying to get what's in here out to everyone else.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And obviously there's going to be a lot of grey areas because obviously they're not going to know what's in your mind. They're not going to be able to mind read.
Absolutely, everyone's different.
It's going to cause a lot of.
When it costs me so much money and waste a lot
Oh,
of
of
my
course,
time.
yeah. You're going to want to like be forceful with them and be like be aggressive. But obviously you don't want to be over the top with it because if you are, then they're going to lose the interest to be present with you.
Yeah, well, I'm stern, but I just want the best for the production, the product at the end, and everyone's contribution to it. I want it to be the best that they can do.
No, definitely.
Even if that does mean backhanding them a couple of times.
No, awesome. No, seriously, big thanks for you coming on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And yeah, big thanks to my guests, Megan and Nikki. And I've been Clark Thompson, and good night.